Hi, everybody. This is Tracy Malone from NarcissistAbuseSupport.com. I am here to talk to you today about the consequences of having a narcissistic parent on future relationships. Often when we see people who have been in a narcissistic relationship and we inquire if they have figured out a tie to their upbringing, their family of origin, we often see a tie. And I think I would say at least 70 or 80% of my clients end up seeing that, oh my gosh, I was raised by a narcissist. That's why I didn't see it. But I think there's two camps. There's either the camp where you know that your parents are a narcissist, and there are many people, especially nowadays, that are understanding the signs and the behaviors. But if they knew that their family was a narcissist, the risk is often in the other kind of narcissist, right? So my mother was a raging alcoholic narcissist who threw things and yelled and screamed, and my parents fought like cats and dogs. And so I thought, okay, this is crazy. I didn't know it was abuse then. I just knew that it was kind of crazy. And so it was normalized to me. However, when I met both of my husbands, I said, they don't throw plates. They don't yell and scream. In fact, we don't even fight. So it's not a narcissist. It's not who my mother was, right? That's sort of the naivety about not understanding that they come in different flavors. It's the overt, the covert, and they're completely different. So whichever one yours was, you may be at risk for attracting or being with the other type. So know that, right? The other is that you might not have been aware that this was going on and you're just figuring it out now. But when you married somebody, that's when you like made a mistake because you didn't know what you were experiencing as a child was abuse, and that this is who the signs that you miss. So if we look at why people end up in a narcissistic relationship after they've had a narcissistic family member, the first thing is that the patterns are familiar, right? We are like seeing things that, are just normalized to us. If a guy ghosted me, it was because our family ghosted each other. There was never like a triangle where anybody was always talking to everybody. It just didn't happen. So the division of that sort of, ghosting kind of thing in your family would make it normal if someone does that to you later in life, right? As a child of a narcissist, you are taught to accept crumbs. Just a fact. So when a narcissist gives you that, then okay, well, that's what I'm going to get. I'm used to crumbs. I could do crumbs, right? Of course, you get the whole piece of cake at the beginning, but then the crumbs start coming in, right? The other things are that we put others' needs before our own. As children of narcissists, we are the caregivers, and so this is an attractive thing for a narcissist. They're going to look for you, right? As a child of a narcissist, you were probably not taught boundaries, and narcissists check out for that right away. It's one of their first go-to. Let's see if they have strong boundaries, because if you do, you're not a good supply for them. So these are sort of some of the risks, right? We are also groomed to not ask for what we want. You don't have a right. Why should you have an opinion? You don't get to listen, right? These are the things that come. Victims who have narcissistic parents also tend to have low self-esteem. And this means we're not going to stand up for ourselves. We're not going to be the fighter. We're going to be the more subservient. Okay, that hurt, but that sort of thing. If you never feel good enough because you had a narcissistic parent, then the narcissist can really help you at the beginning to go, oh, that's horrible. I would take care of you. I would never do those things to you. But if it is a narcissist, you've just given them the script for how to abuse you because you've told them about your vulnerabilities, right? If you are easily gaslit, they're going to check that out. Again, as they test your boundaries, they're also going to test if you understand what gaslighting is and if you stand up for it. So they're going to test you little tiny things. So that's how we start to end up with somebody that is narcissistic. It's because of these patterns that we learned as coping skills as children that now become sort of normalized. And, we also feel like we can fix it. It's just a small little thing that they're just a little mean sometimes. So again, adult children of narcissists, have always fixed the family, always been the glue, the fixer, and it's a role that we take on. It's the codependent part of this that comes out and makes us really good supply, but at the same time, the risk of being with a narcissist is a vulnerability. You have to understand what your vulnerabilities are. The other question that I have here is the effects of being raised by a narcissist. So if you were raised by a narcissist, as I just said, there's a chance you'll end up being codependent, which is putting other people's needs before your own. And, this is what narcissists are looking for. They're looking for a slave, and you are willing to be the slave. It's a perfect fit. If we are holding on to wounds of shame and worthlessness, or unworthiness is a better way to say it. If we're holding on to this deep-seated thing, a narcissist can exploit this, again, by making you feel in the beginning like, oh, I never loved anyone. I didn't know anyone could be this amazing. It's the answer to your prayer if you're holding on to shame or unworthiness. Trust issues are another thing that many adult children of narcissists end up struggling with. How do I trust somebody? So they often give their trust away. And then when someone betrays them in a trust situation, they don't have the tools to stand up for themselves and say, you know what, that was very untrustworthy. I don't think I want you in my life. They'll say, that was just so untrustworthy. How could you do that to me, right? It's this internalized thing that hurts us so deeply, but we don't have the courage to stand up because in our narcissistic families, we were never allowed to. So another thing that happens to adult children of narcissists is a sense of self. You lose the sense of self. You don't even know who you are because you're so easily morphed into playing the roles, if you would, in your family's life. If you had to be the glue that kept the family together, if you had to be the one that was the rebel or whatever it is, your sense of self is not who you really are. You were never given the opportunity to find out who you are. They never believed in you. They always, if you were the one who was like the star football player or the star whatever, then your parents probably appreciated you and you were a good reflection of them. If you had any faults at all, the narcissist tends to, pick on you and try to get you to conform to what they want you to do for the public eye. Not that they want you to be smarter and get into a better school so you can have a good life. It's so that they look good, right? So there's this sense of self that is lost, and we've got to learn to find it. Another thing that happens to victims of adult children is fears, right? The parents have been feeding you a pile of fears your entire life, feeding you that you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, you're not whatever they attack you for. And so therefore there's that fear inside of you of maybe it's not being good enough. And if we feel like we're not good enough, then we settle. We settle for crumbs. We're used to it, so okay, well, they're not perfect, but they'll do, right? We settle for good enough. If we don't feel good enough, we don't think we deserve better. So keep that in mind. One of the things on that one, um, my parents, triangulated me and my two sisters, and I was the rebel. I was such a rebel. I was such a bad kid. If I look back, sorry guys, I didn't mean that, but I was looking for attention. I was looking for attention any way I could get it. And I made a lot of mistakes and I was kind of the screw up, if you would. And both my sisters had their masters and I was told, you'll never, be good enough. You're not smart like them. You're not the one that's going to be successful. You better pull your act together. You suck is what the general message was. And so, the message too was also that you'll never be able to take care of yourself. You're not smart enough. The bottom line is you better find somebody to take care of you. And both of my weddings, my parents said to both of my husbands, she's your problem now, which is nice because that didn't end up so well for me. But, when we have a fear recording, you have to learn and understand what it is. Um, you know, if you're afraid of being alone, if you're afraid, what is your fear? You have to analyze that and you have to come to terms with the truth, whether that's going to come true or not, because it is something that will be manipulated by a narcissist, right? The other thing that we need to know, this is the last thing, I swear, guys, I know it's a long video, but the last thing that we need to understand about the wounds that are caused by the family of origin narcissist that sets us up for being with another narcissist, or many in many cases, is an abandonment wound. I always thought, oh, someone had to leave to give you an abandonment. No, they could just not be there emotionally for you, which is all narcissistic parents, right? They never gave you the chance. They never believed in you. And so, when you have an abandonment wound, which means you have a fear of someone leaving, all the narcissist has to do is threaten to leave and you fall back in line. I'll do anything to make them stay because the fear of abandonment is so big that I couldn't even imagine what my life would be without this person. Even if they're abusing me, it's not that bad. It's a crumb. I could take it. I can handle it. I'm used to it. I can deal with it, right? It's that. But the truth is the abandonment wound will make you take more abuse, right? Because of the fear. You're used to it, but also if I speak up, then they might leave me, right? You accept crumbs because it's good enough. You accept cheating because, well, they'll always come back, and that helps with the abandonment wound, right? So, they take control by threatening you to leave and scare you every day to keep you in line. The wounds of an adult child of a narcissist have to be healed and understood before we can go into another relationship. So many people ask me this question all the time. I'm afraid I'll meet another one. Not if you do your work. If you do your work, you have confidence in yourself that you're going to meet one. And if you find one, that you're not going to stay with them because you've got the tools, you've learned the boundaries, you've learned to protect yourself. That's how you're going to change your life. But unfortunately, the numbers are not in our favor, that adult children of narcissists tend to repeat the patterns, whether they are aware of it and it's a different flavor, or whether they just see this person as the greatest thing on earth and giving them a family or giving them a life that they never dreamed they would have because of the narratives from their parents. So this is Tracy Malone from Narcissist Abuse Support. I am a coach and I help people all over the world. If you are in trouble and needing support, whether it's an adult child of a narcissist and breaking those patterns, or whether you are with a narcissist and you're trying to figure out where to go and how to heal, or in a divorce, I'm here to help. Just look me up. Narcissist Abuse Support. The link is down below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. I really appreciate it. And leaving comments is a great way to show everybody and start a conversation. So did you have a narcissistic parent? Share below and we'll get to know you. Thank you.